Welcome, 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 welcome. You're watching the Alert Factor. I am Nancy Allert, real estate broker with Remax Allegiance in the Washington, D.C. metro area. I'm happy you guys are here. Tune in so you can watch us, listen to us on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV, and our TV.network. Just check us out every Wednesday from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are here. The Alert Factor, what we're about is everything real estate. So today we're going to be talking to you about everything that you want to know about how you can invest in the United States if you're a foreigner, how you can invest and get a visa, the different creative ways to get real estate, to get the land, to buy the land, because it's all about the land. So remember, if you have a property for sale or rent, you can put it on our real estate listings.info. Excuse me, real estate listing.info, and you can enter that there for free. This is a live show, so you can always pop in at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or you can go to ourtv.network and check out the marketplace, and you'll be able to see us at any time. You can watch our previously taped show. So it's a live show, but you can watch the tape show, okay? So real estate. So our guest today, we have a guest today, and he is going to be talking to us. Excuse me, I'm not sure. He's going to be talking to us about real estate investing, about leads, about how to get visas as a foreign person. He's going to talk to you about some real stuff. So grab your pen, grab your paper, because Mr. Maurice Shane Sr. is about to join the stage. Hey,
Good
Maurice.
afternoon.
Hey, Maurice. How are you? What?
Hey.
Wait a minute. You got, are those shades you have on, or are they glasses?
No, they're my glasses. They're my glasses.
Because you looking too cool for school right now.
Oh, I apologize. No, these are my glasses. I may not have the professional lighting that you may have, but I'm down here in my private lab. Yeah. In the lab. So you told me to be dressed and professional looking.
Like okay. So you gonna stand for the whole thing, or you gonna sit?
I'll probably stand for now, but I'm fine.
Okay, all right. Well, so Maurice, introduce yourself to the people. Tell us who you are, where you live, what you do.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to come on your show, your platform, and to be able to talk. And you and I, we talk when we're out and get a chance to talk to the people. This is probably my first or second time doing something like this of this nature, so I am a little.
Well, you look like a pro. You look like a pro.
Thank you very much. But I do want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to talk about the topics that you wanted to talk about, and just to kind of give you a little history about myself. Maurice Shane Sr. I live here in Prince George's County, Maryland. Specialize in commercial real estate finance, private money, hard money, business consulting, business development, and also the space of immigration as it pertains to CBI, which is Citizens by Investment, E2 visa, and EB5. And as you probably heard me say this, if I tell individuals when they say, what is it that you do? I'll say, hey, if you've seen the movie Pulp Fiction, I am the character. I'm Mr. Wolf. I fix your problem.
Oh, Mr. Wolf.
Fix it and take care of it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And also it's all about, networking in terms of the things that you and I do to go out and cultivate opportunities and uncover opportunities and provide solutions for our clients.
Okay. So you provide solutions. Like I like to say, I'm Nancy Alert, and I specialize in results.
Yes, that is correct. I remember you telling me that at NVAR when we
right. I said that's how I introduced myself. I'm Nancy Alert. I specialize in results.
Yes.
So you're a solution-oriented gentleman.
Yes, that is the goal, and that is the mindset, and that's yes.
Okay. So then let's provide some solutions to the people out there today. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to chat with you about today, because I know this is your space, right? And I like to call So I'll call you the SMEs of this space. And the SMEs is the subject matter expert,
Expert.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
you're the SMEs in this investor visa situation, right? You can
Yes.
tell us all about the CBI, the E2, the EB5. And I know the people are like, what are all those things? But we're going to get right to you on those. But let's start with, I wish we had time to show a clip of the movie with Alec Baldwin, which is about the sales movie about salesmen and how you go get it, right?
Yes.
And that movie, what was that movie called?
Glenn Ross. It came out around 1993, 94. Excellent movie. And I do want to apologize. I gave you guys that clip. It's about a 7-minute clip of Alec Baldwin at the very outset of the movie, and his premise was to come in and beat these sales guys up, these older gentlemen that were doing land deals. But it made Alec Baldwin who he is, or who he was back then, who he is now.
Well,
But it was
yeah.
a very good 8 minutes.
Yeah, so the Glenn Ross, right?
Glenn Ross.
That clip was about, I don't know if you want to call it motivating,
yes,
intimidating,
all of the above.
all
Because
of the above, salesman.
If you remember, he said, the first prize is a Cadillac, the second prize is steak knives, and the third prize
you're fired. You're
fired.
You're fired.
And he got their attention.
That's the third prize. So here's the thing. I think it was like 4 or 5 gentlemen in the room. So
yes.
If the first prize is the Cadillac and the second prize is steak knives, I guess all of them have to have first prize. I mean, they all have to go in there and make it happen. Otherwise, you're fired.
Oh no, he just said the third prize. You're all going to be fired, and they had to redeem themselves by selling 2 leads that they previously owned, and then they got the Mitch and Murray leads. Which, and of course, if you've seen the movie, or you're familiar with the movie, someone stole the leads, and later on in the movie. But the whole piece that I was kind of like sharing was about 7 minutes and 32 seconds, where he's just telling everybody from a motivational AIDA, ABC, always be closing, and then AIDA, attention, interest, decision, and I forgot what the other A means, adjustment or something like that. But he basically ripped into them and a number of other cliches that have been used for the last 20 years if you're a salesperson.
So basically, the reason I had mentioned that is because I think it was a little funny, but it was serious. And even it was made in the 90s. It is still important right now, because basically what that was all about is just teaching you salespeople that you can't do today what you did yesterday to get the results you got yesterday. You actually have to do something different today to get the same results you got yesterday, because it's a different market, different people in it. You have to be able to change. You have to be able to be flexible. You have to be able to be okay with doing something different, right?
Yes.
And the reason we're talking about doing something different is because I love what you're doing in that space, because there's a lot of foreigners, a lot of investors that would like to invest in the United States, or would like to come to the United States and have a lot of money. So why don't you invest in the real estate space? And that's where we both come in, because we're in the real estate space. I'm in it in selling you a building or townhouse or a single family house, and you're in it by getting you the bag. So first, why don't we start with how are you able to help people with both hard money and private money? And can you give us the difference? What is the difference between hard money and private money?
Well, they're all one and the same. One may be a more sophisticated or a more softer term, private money versus hard money, but it's basically the same, because you're using money for an investment property acquisition or a flip or whatever the scenario may be. You're not going to be able to go to the bank, because again, it's an investment, risky investment, and it's different from you as if you went and bought your house, which is owner occupied. As you know, you're going to be living in that house, and you're going to stay there for 10, 15,
and try to take
30
care of
years.
that collateral.
Yeah, and then in that regard. But the investment property, say like I'm working with someone now, they're building a house in DC from the ground up, and they need a little bit of money or assistance. It's short terms for about a year. It could be no interest. I'm sorry, interest only. Excuse me. And
Right. I'm like, no interest. Can I get
correct?
that?
Excuse me. Interest only, rather, because you're just paying for the use of the money, and it's for either 12 months or 18 months, depending on the structure of the deal. And the thing is, the money's available. And if you have the track record and you've been doing this, or they have been doing it for a while, there are a number of companies that are out there. I also work in the space where bank, like M&T Bank or Wells Fargo, and those particular shingle banks, they may have a situation where their client may not be able to get the deal funded. Sometimes they'll give me a call or an opportunity to help them because it winds up helping the customer. So it's just basically being in those right places. Excuse me, being in those right places at the right time, and also being able to provide the solution.
Because I always thought that the private money versus the hard money it's still a loan. You still have to go through a process, but not the arduous process that you would have to go to at the regular institution, like at a bank or a credit union. And then private money, I always thought of as not structured specifically, but it's you going to an individual that has a lot of money and know that they're going to make a little more interest by lending it to you as opposed to putting it in the bank or in the market right now. Right.
Well,
so they don't necessarily have to be a company.
But the private fund, well, let's say private funding sources, or there's various different terms, but there are individuals that, or there could be an individual that may have, I got like $5 million that I want to.
It could be your rich auntie or your rich uncle, right?
Yes. So there's different outlets that are out there, and I guess each one has a different name or specific task, or the space, that they play in. So you kind of know both, and also it just depends on the loan size also. But anything under $1 million, as you and I know, we probably know 3 or 4 companies that are very reputable. They don't charge a lot in points and fees and things of that nature. So they understand, get the deal done now so we can go do another deal, get another deal on down the road.
Exactly. So who do you think would be utilizing the services of a hard money lender? Is it because I know when you get a hard money lender, you actually have to already have like an exit strategy. You have to know how long you're going to be in there and then when you're going to leave, so that because the interest rates is usually higher, like 12, 13, 14, 15%, right?
Yeah,
so
somewhat.
Hard money, you would say, is not necessarily for you to buy a property that you're holding for 30 years.
No.
It's a short-term situation, right?
Yes. And it's yes, most definitely. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it's not like as if we went out and bought our house or we're going to be living in the house. It's something that's very short-term. One, you can't go to the bank because the banks don't lend on risk. In that space, so you have that financial arm out there for the investor that wants to go out and either do the one deal, and a lot of times some investment shops, they want to make sure that they're dealing with someone that has at least between 660, 700 credit score, and they want to know that they want to see your resume. How many deals have you done, or how many units have you facilitated, and things of that nature. So, and then if the borrower is not strong, then they have alternative ways to help him or her facilitate the deal as they kind of move forward. But there's something else I was trying to say, but they're all very fair, because at the end of the day, they want to make money. They're going to structure the deal, and there's a term sheet or a broker sheet or whatever they want to call it that will lay out the terms to say, okay, we're going to give you $500,000. There's a draw schedule. There's a number of things within the structure of the deal, that you as not you, but the lender or the person the investor, that he has to, I don't even want to use the word abide by, but follow through. So those terms will be spelled out.
Would you say, I would say that for one of the reasons the hard money is better for investor is because the hard money loan is not based on you so much, the investor, as it's based on the deal, the actual deal. Because if the deal makes sense, then they're going to give you the money, versus when you go to the bank, like Bank of America or any other bank, it's based on you, your credit score, your debt to income ratio, blah, blah, blah. It's not based on the actual property, right?
Let me counter that. It is going to be on you, because let's just say you went out and bought some land, and you wanted to build something, and you did not do your due diligence, and you bought the land, you put the money out on the land, and you got the architectural drawings and things of that nature. Then you went to a hard money lender, and the first thing they're going to ask you, how much do you need? Where is it located? And they're going to ask you, what is your credit score? And if you, Nancy, not to say that you got a 500 score, they're going to look at you sideways, and then they're probably going to tell you we're not going to be able to lend you the money, and then you're going to be going around the different places, and you'll probably hear the same thing. So
wait a minute. So I thought the whole point in the hard money is so that it is not so structured on you, and so much information has to come from your personal credit and things like that. It has to be about, is this deal gonna make sense? If you buy it for 100, you take 50 to repair it, and you can sell it for 250 or 300, then it makes sense to lend you the money, as opposed to what your credit score. Yeah, I understand it can't be totally not to your credit score.
You don't. Let me say this. Put it down. I'll put it this way: if you don't meet their criteria, then they're not going to lend you the money.
Right. But what I'm saying is the criteria for hard money and private money is
still going to be the same.
So wait a minute. Are you saying? Wait a minute. Let me get this question out. Are you saying that you have the same criteria for hard money as you do if you went to B of A?
Well, remember, if it's an investment property, the lending institutions, the Bank of Americas, they're going to walk you right out the door in a nice way. So you're going to have to go to the hard money, but either way, you're going to have to have
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The criteria is different from B of A. And we're not saying Bank of America specifically. I'm just saying that's what came to my mind. But any FDIC institution, right? Any bank in the United States you go to, the criteria is going to be different than if you went to a hard money lender. Yes? No.
Again, you're not. If you have
this is a yes or no answer.
No, you're not going to be able to get anything from the lending institutions.
So no, that wasn't the question I asked. Here's my question. My question is the criteria to purchase less stringent on the buyer if they're using hard money than if they went to a bank?
Let me answer the question to you this way. If you went,
that's a yes or no answer, man.
It's not and somebody may need to chime in. I can't give you a yes or no response, but this way, if you went to a financial institution and you said, hey, I've got a property at 500 K Street, I want $500,000 to flip it, they're going to say, no, we don't do that. You've got to go to
so
private
then the
lender.
answer is yes, because it is more stringent if you went to the bank.
Well, I wouldn't use the word. I would not.
It is more stringent.
I don't want to get into semantics, but I would not use. I wouldn't want to use the word stringent. What I would say is just something that they don't do. Now
they require more of you. How about
at the end of the day, and I wanted to speak on this, and some of your viewers probably are familiar with this. If you have a 620 credit score, and I'm not blaming anybody or saying why the score is the way it is, because there are things that may be out of our control, but it's kind of like an indictment. Why are you not paying your bills? Number one. And number two, why would I lend you $500,000 if you can't pay your bills?
Right, because it's all, see, you're answering my question without saying yes. So basically, if you went to the bank and your credit score is 580, unless you're getting an FHA loan, they're going to look at you like a little harder. Your interest rate might be a little higher, and you might not get as much money as you would if you had a 680
But Miss
credit score.
Nancy,
Oh, by the way,
but Miss Nancy, you keep talking about these various lending institutions and their arms when we're talking about investment property.
Right,
now,
but that's the point, because you haven't heard me yet.
Mhm.
That is the point I'm trying to make. As an investor, you're going to go to a hard money lender because it is going to be easier. I'm not saying they're giving away money and they're going to throw money at you, but it's easier to get a hard money loan than it is to get a loan from the bank as an investor, because most of the time the hard money lender is looking at the deal. They're looking at the deal, right? Not so hard at you. They're looking at you a little bit, whereas the bank is looking at you real hard. Have you done this before? What's your credit score? How much savings you got? Blah blah blah. All that stuff they're asking. Whereas hard money, they are asking you questions because you still have to qualify, but you don't have to give them blood to get the money. Is what I was trying to say. You don't have to give them blood.
Okay.
But we're going to leave that at the past, because we're not like.
Can I say you won?
We're not going to agree on hard money is less paperwork than if you went to a lender. We're going to leave that alone.
Yes.
Okay. But what we are going to say is that as a lender or business development person, your position is to help business people, help investors to get to the money, to get to the deal, and you help them navigate through this wonderful stream of real estate, and how to jump in, how to jump out, what moves to make, right? If you're an investor, and mainly a foreign investor, you the man they need to know, right? If you are in Dubai or you're in Africa or where you are, you're going to tell me the countries that you're able to work with foreigners to have them invest to visa. And what we're going to do is, we're going to take in a few seconds, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, then we're going to dive right in to what it is, what it takes, who can invest in the United States in real estate and get a visa so you can come live here. Because, everybody wants it. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people want to come to the United States. But now we're telling you, you can come. You have to invest in the country, right? And then you're able to come on here. So be ready to tell us all about how you can get a EB5, an E2.
Yep. I'll be able to lay it out.
And you're going to lay that out for the people. So get your pen, get your paper. We're taking a break right now, and we'll be right back.
All right. Thank you.
Metro New York's port services are currently constrained and challenged in facilitating the handling of international cargo. It's time for a whole new ballgame. Just 55 miles north of the city, Stewart Airport, closed during the base realignment, is an underutilized resource. that could be maximized and bring growth to the area and relieve New York City. It's an ideal place for a thriving supply chain center of regional excellence called SCORE. We intend to support the New York and New Jersey Port Authority's commitment to the New York International Plaza, putting it at the forefront of a transformation of regional global trade, telecommunications, and economic growth. A logistics-based regenerative smart city that supplies an interactive platform of data and document interoperability to optimize resources. SCORE will transform this location into a thriving hub that can process and distribute cargo via various methods of transportation, elevating it to one of the world's best intermodal ports. We aim to build a cybersecure network operations center that enables customers to share data in real time across the supply chain and across the whole region, utilizing eco-friendly practices to keep things running efficiently. And it doesn't stop there. Not only will SCORE develop high-speed wireless networks in a data-driven city to improve logistics and facilitate international trade, it will also create critical infrastructure for regional economic development. By optimizing the business environment, attracting startups and investment, supporting the development of high-value industries such as medical, education, technology, and hospitality, creating new employment opportunities for the region. SCORE will inject vibrancy and inspire prosperity in an underutilized area to develop a greener and more livable smart city that thrives, bringing excellence to the Hudson Valley. It's a game changer. Visit IC Logistics to learn how you can support this SCORE economic development initiative at Stewart Airport.
All right. We're back. You're watching and listening to the Alert Factor. I am Nancy Allert. We are here every Wednesday from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. So check us out on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV, and you can go to ourtv.network and check out the marketplace to see all the other fantastic shows we have there for you. So today we are speaking with Mr. Maurice Shane, and we are talking about investing in real estate, investing to Visa. So first off, Maurice, can you tell me the countries? What are the countries that can utilize this E2, EB5 Visa invest to Visa situation in the United States?
Thank you very much. One, I want to say again, thank you for allowing me to have an opportunity to talk to you. I talk to you a lot, but talk to your fan base and the folks out there in the Roku TV world. I want to say I put my information up there in the chat box.
Okay.
I did make a mistake trying to I'm not a fast typist, but I corrected myself with my Gmail. If you have any questions, just feel free to shoot me an email.
Well, why don't we do that right now?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Why don't you tell the people how they can get connected with you?
Yes.
Your name, your social media, phone number, email address.
Well, well, let me do this. I put my email address up there, but it's mauriceshane@gmail.com. You can go to my LinkedIn profile. My cell phone number is area code 202-365-2807. Again, 202-365-2807. If I do not pick up the phone, leave a message. I will return your call, as Ms. Nancy can attest to that. We are in COVID, so everybody's on the phone talking, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I live here in the county. Well, as you know, you and I, we do a lot of networking here with our particular groups that we are a part of,
right,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So tell me the countries.
Okay, now the countries. Let me just say one. Let me clarify. Let me do a little house cleaning if I can. There's 3 different applications, and if the folks who are watching, if they can just jot this information down, it's not a lot. There's 3 different investor visas that you can utilize. One is the E2, capital E-2 investor visa program. I'll explain what it means. The second one is CBI, which is Citizen by Investment, CBI, which is Citizens by Investment. And then the third one is the EB5 investor visa for the green card. So let me say number 3, the EB5, there are a number of problems, challenges with that particular instrument right now in terms of something called retrogression. The cost had changed almost like $800,000 or $1.8 million. And when you say retrogression, if they're Indian, it may take 2 years before you get into the country. So if you drop $800,000, you got to wait 2 years. And if you're Asian, Chinese, it may be 10 or 12 years. So it's a lot of problems or challenges. The second one I'll speak to is the E2, which is a investor visa. We have 120 treaty countries that we have a relationship with that says if someone from, say, Egypt, and you've seen the list, there's 140 countries, but I'm naming 3 or 4 of them: Brazil, Egypt, Israel. If someone in those respective countries want to come here, bring their family, they start a business. I can talk a little bit more about that offline, but they'll start a business, hire 1 or 2 American employees, and then get a brick and mortar or work around that. And then they start the business, and they could be here in the country within 6 months. Husband, wife, dependents, long as they're under 21 years of age, they'll get all the quote unquote rights and privileges. Their kids can go to American schools, go to college. And at the end of the day, contrary to what anyone says, everybody wants to come to this country. Let me
ask you, that is true. That's true. So let me ask you this question. You were just talking about the E2 investor visa. So for the E2 investor visa, it's not necessarily real estate, but you can just start any business. Yes. And as long as you're hiring, what is the number of employees? Is there a specific number of employees you have to hire?
No. One or 2, because it's depending on the business. If it's a nail salon, then you're going to have more people, because you're going to have more people doing nails, etc., for the customers. If it's a restaurant or a coffee shop or something like that, so we would work with them in terms of building that out. But we usually say 1 or 2 employees. That business is generating business, and they're paying American taxes, and there's a tax base. So that's the beauty of that particular program.
Okay. Now, so the E2 you start a business, you employ 1 to 2 Americans, citizens, residents,
Yes,
right?
yes.
You apply that. So is there a specific amount of investment you have to make with this business in order to be a part of the E2 investor visa program?
In any of the document, any and all of the documentation in USCIS, they'll say a minimum of $150,000.
Okay.
It kind of makes it, more, I hate to use the word palatable, but more realistic. But if you know someone that has a nail salon, and a lot of times Vietnamese and Asian folks that are coming over here, they usually will have, and I mentioned this to you, they'll usually have an understanding that I'm going to buy Nancy's nail salon. And if it's $50,000, you pay $50,000. So once again, they have a number or a threshold, but you can always find something that's a little bit less expensive to purchase.
So when you invest that $150,000 in whatever business it is that you're investing in, and you have the 1 to 2 employees, how long is your visa for that you're receiving?
That's an excellent question. They'll usually say they'll reauthorize. Let me back up. It's not a permanent green card visa. And I want to make sure I'm abundantly clear. It's not a permanent, but long as the business is up and running, they will reauthorize it every 3 to 5 years, and you can keep the business running in perpetuity. And I don't know too many people that'll say, I'm going to start this business in 2015 and I'm going to turn it off in 2025. But I mean, now you got to go back home.
Right. Unless the business fails. Right?
Well, we prayerfully hope it does not fail, but in the event it fails, you either got to start something else or fix it, so to speak, for the lack of this our conversation. But I can assure you,
I'm glad you mentioned that. So let's say, because we want you come here, we want your business to thrive and everybody to make money, land of opportunity. But if you have a business and the business failed, does that mean that you have to reinvest another $150,000, or do you have to start another business, but not necessarily $150,000?
No. You just have to be creative just have to be creative and figure out what you need to do. You consult with me or whoever you're going to be, working with to correct whatever the problems are to keep the business viable. But I can assure you, other than something catastrophic like COVID or the crash or something that's really out of, our humanly control, most times, you're not going to mess that business up. And the other thing is the international client, the international investors, whether they're Indian, African, they will make sure that they have people that will spend their, I'm losing the
support
the business. There we go. Support the business. Trust me.
So you're saying initially you'll get this visa under the E2. We're still talking about the E2 investor visa. You start a business, you invest about $150,000, and you get 3 to 5 years. So every 3 to 5 years, depending on what it is that you got, whether it's 3-year visa or a 5-year visa, every 3 to 5 years, you are going to be reinstated as long as the business.
Someone from the USCIS, which is the United States Customs Immigration Service, or someone in that area, they will come and set an appointment. Hey, Miss Nancy, we want to come to your place, check your business out, make sure you're viable, you're up and running, you got a key, you got a door, you got the lights on, and you are who you say you are. And then once they see that, it takes maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever. They see it, then they write it up, and then they'll see you in another 4 or 5 years. But as long as it's reauthorized, and that's the main thing. Because keep in mind, at the end of the day, and you know this, and we talked about this, and I'm sure your viewers know this, small businesses are the engines that keep this country going, or whatever the heck it is.
Most definitely.
So all you got to do, you and I, we can go in Georgetown, or we can go on H Street, and there's 50 restaurants down there.
Right. That's good. But so for the individuals that, I might know someone that has some money that want to come here and start a business. How do we do this? Do we need an immigration attorney? Do we need a business development gentleman like yourself? Do you connect them with the immigration attorneys? And how does this work?
That's it. I tell you, I like talking to you because you always have excellent questions, but that will always lead to excellent answers. Yes, I will help them. You will help them. I know immigration attorneys. Sometimes they may have their own immigration attorney. I was just talking with one yesterday. I'm meeting with one tomorrow. Yeah. So no, I assist them with all that. And then the cool thing is, for the folks that are real estate agents and that have those relationships, and I mentioned this to you on numerous occasions in our conversation, if you have somebody that you know that comes over here, at some point in time, they're going to buy a house. And I can guarantee you they're going to go buy a house in, Northern Virginia or somewhere where, the market is a little bit higher. So you get to sell a nice house. You or they will be their center of influence, and they'll rely on you, what schools to go to, what grocery stores, what banks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then one other real great thing, once that person, wherever their point of origin, they will tell their friends, hey, Nancy hooked me up. My family's here. And all of a sudden you've got this nice stream of opportunities for other individuals to come through. So that's through the E2 side. And if I I'm sorry, go ahead.
So basically, connect with realtors and immigration attorneys and Mr. Maurice Shane, because he can connect you with all three of those dots, the realtor and the immigration attorney, because you'll need all of those. You need a realtor to get the building or buy the house, right? And you need the immigration attorney to walk you through the steps to get the E2 investor visa. And remember that for the E2 investor visa, you can bring your entire family, your children, as long as they're under 21, yes?
Yes, as long as they're 21 years of age. And then also, just in case, where we are in the Google world, if you write down, you can Google understanding the E2 investor visa, and you can spend a half an hour, and you'll be somewhat proficient. I'll say you'll have a better understanding of it. But people are always on their phone doing a number of other things. So yeah, just Google it, and you'll be surprised. There's a lot of information out there. But come back to me and Miss Nancy when you're ready to partake and pursue that
into the program. So now the next one, is that the CBI?
Yeah, Citizen by Investment. And now the Citizen by Investment, and again, it's called CBI, or you can Google Citizens by Investment. Now, what that means is the flip side. The countries that are not on the E2 Investor Treaty list. So Africa, and I have a list of them over here: Saudi Arabia, UAE, Lebanon, Russia, now Nigeria, and there's a number of other countries. So those individuals, those countries, they're not on the E2 list. But if you go through the CBI program, and CBI program represents a second passport in Grenada. So once you get that second passport, then you can go apply for the E2 investor visa. So they're kind of bundled together. The cost, without really getting into the weeds about it for the sake of the time, you're looking at about $450,000 again for the family. So I'll break it down. If you have a pen, $220,000 will go toward the the investment of $220,000 into the property in Grenada, the luxury villas and things of that nature. $50,000 will go towards the government fees based on the composition of the family. As you know, places like Grenada and some other countries, they make the money off the fees. And then the third tranche would be the 120 or 150 for the E2 investor visa. So you put those three monies together, roughly is around $450,000. We will supply you with something called a reservation application, and then there's a whole backroom process, which I could talk more offline. Now,
okay. So how long does one? So this is a roundabout for the countries that are not permitted, for lack of a better word, to participate in the E2 direct.
Yes.
Visa. They can do the roundabout by doing the citizen by investment by going to Grenada. How long do they have to be in Grenada before they're able to then apply for the E2?
Now, keep one thing in mind. I want to make myself make myself abundant. They're not going to go to Grenada at all.
Oh,
you're not going to go to Grenada at all. So let's just say they're in Africa. So they're in Africa. The whole process will take about 4 to 5 months.
Mhm.
So if they've signed the documents now, write the check, the government fee check, they'll be here in 5 months. So they'll never go to Grenada. Now, what I want to take about 1 minute, and I mentioned this to you, some folks on the right, some very mean-spirited people, they put something in what is called the Defense Authorization Act that eliminated China, India, and all of Southeast Asia. So basically brown people, people of color, and unfortunately these two entities, they've been excluded. No, let me back up. They're saying that those individuals have to go live in Grenada for 3 years. It's called domicile. They have to go live, and I can email you the information. But yeah, it really just put without getting real nasty or wasting time talking about it, just put a pin in those two countries. They didn't exclude other countries, but anyway. I won't get into the political part.
So
but
wait a minute. Let me get some clarification. I need some clarification. So the CBI, you're saying it takes about 4 months for other countries, with the exception of China and India, who have to actually live in Grenada for 3 years before they can participate in the E2 investor visa to come to the United States. But the individuals that are participating in the CBI versus the straight E2, what's the difference between those?
No, let me
what you just said, the China and India.
Let me say this for the sake of time. I don't want to get bogged down, but what I'm saying to you is the CBI non-treaty countries, they do what these folks did. They put a poison pill in terms of China and India to say that if you go through the you can go through the CBI program, but to get the E2 visa, you're going to have to live in Grenada for 3 years.
So are you saying the CBI program is only pertaining to China and India?
No, what I'm saying.
Okay, so that's why. Here's my question then. Here's the question I asked before. With the exception of China and India, what is the difference between the CBI and going straight to the E2? Because CBI, there's some countries you're saying they cannot go directly E2 investor visa. You have to go to the CBI and you have to invest in Grenada first, but that all takes about 4 months versus the 3 years that it's going to take China and India. So what is the difference between those that have to go to Grenada first for the 4 months before they can go to the E2? Not talking about China and India.
Let me see, you're asking me this roundabout question, but let me break it down to you this way, if I can, please. Again, there are countries there that I listed, the countries that are, and you have the information, and it's a 4-month period. Okay, now what these political people did, they said, okay, for China and India and all Southeast Asia, that whole continent, so to speak, for those two individuals, if you go through the CBI program to get the E2 visa, those only two countries, you've got to live in Grenada for 3 years.
Okay.
Which basically, they basically said, brown people, we don't want you coming here, because they understood. And I don't want to get into the whole political piece of it.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but that wasn't the question I was asking. I understood that China and India, they have to go through that extra process of actually living in Grenada for
which
3 years.
And you and I know, you and I both know, ain't nobody gonna live in Grenada for 3 years.
Right, but the other countries, give me the name of one country, right, that will go through the CBI program where they don't have to live in Grenada for 3 to 5 years.
Here are the countries. Africa, Saudi Arabia.
So then here's the thing. Good. So what is the difference between Africa and Saudi Arabia that has to go through the CBI versus the rest of the 150 countries that goes directly to E2? Because they're not living in Grenada like China and India have to do, but they still have to do that second.
See this piece of paper I'm showing you? This is called the E2 Investor Treaty List. People, Google it. It'll show you all the countries that we have in a relationship to say anybody on this list.
Okay, so basically, if you're
E2.
not on the treaty list, if you're not on the treaty list, you can't do the E2. You have to go the roundabout
the
to
CBI.
do the CBI.
Yes.
Look at this answer. So you have to. If
I
you're
can
not
either turn it
on
this way, or I could turn it this way.
No, if you're not on the treaty list, which has about 150 countries, you don't go to the direct E2 investor visa where you can invest in a business or real estate, right? It's the E2. It's either real estate or a business, correct?
It's a business. They got to start a business, whether it's going to be whatever that business is going to be. Can I just say one thing, just so everybody's clear? Get a pen and paper and Google E2 investor visa country list. E-2 visa country list, and it'll give you the list of all 120 countries. Iran is on the list, but of course they're barred. And anyway, so you'll get all that information. But to answer your question, there's 6 or 8 countries that they can go directly through the CBI. And again, those political people, I don't want to speak negatively.
Gotcha.
But I hope they all go to hell. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Okay. So the E2 business investor and the EB5, is that the real estate investment to Visa? What is the EB5?
Well, the EB5 basically is saying that you're going to put your money into what is called a regional center, i.e. development hotel or whatever that project may be. Now, the difference is the difference in the money. It's $800,000. Now, remember, before the other guy that became president, it was $500,000. When he took office, he raised it to 900 or about $1 billion or something. And then when the Biden folks came in, they reduced it back to 800,000. So, but the thing is, there are issues and challenges with the EB5 that I probably take another 20 minutes trying to explain. But it's an alternative, but there may be problems. Again, India has a 2-year waiting period. So, you have to ask yourself if the kids are 19 and 20, they can't do it, because by the time the 2 years comes up, they're 21 or 22 years old, and you don't want to be gambling or trying to wait that period out. If you're Asian, it's longer. So it just varies. This is a word, retrogression. So the best option and the least expensive option is the CBI and or the E2, depending on your country of origin. And that's where, folks like you and I come in, and we have a consultation with the customer, with the client or the investor. But the best thing to do is to talk.
So essentially what you're saying is the EB5 is the long shot, and the faster and quicker road would be the E2 or the CBI. And both of those are so E2 is business, but the CBI, you're saying they're investing in real estate in Grenada. But I have a question for you. I understand that 200 of the 400 to 450,000 goes to the villas, and 50 goes to the government. What did the other 150 went to?
When you get the second passport from Grenada, it enables you to go to your consulate to get the E2 visa. So then that's where the other $120,000 to $150,000 comes in at.
So the question is, of this $400,000 to $450,000 that you are laying out in the CBI to go the Grenada route to the E2 visa, how much of it is an investment that you're going to get back, and how much of it is just fees?
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to circle back to that. The $220,000, there's a 5-year holding period. I'm going to repeat myself. the $220,000 investment, there is a 5-year holding period that says when you get to that 5th year, you can sell that your share to someone else, and if someone's going to buy it, you can share their sale and then get your money back. So it is not you'll be able to there's a way that you can get the money back without going into a whole bunch of
All right.
trouble.
Okay.
So yeah, the money you can get the money back.
You the 200,000.
220,000.
Okay. So this conversation might need to have a part 2. This is not enough time for this conversation, but I so appreciate you spending your time today to educate us on the CBI investor visa, the E2 investor visa, and the EB5. So for foreigners that are interested in getting visas and investing in the United States, contact me, Nancy Alert, or contact Maurice Shane. Maurice, once again, what is your email address and your phone number?
It is mauriceshane@gmail.com, and my cell phone number is area code 202-365-2807. Again, if I do not pick up, please leave a message. I will most definitely call you back, as Miss Nancy is fully aware of this.
Thank you very much. Again, I'm Nancy Alert. You've been watching The Alert Factor. See us here, listen to us, watch us every Wednesday, 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you very much for joining us, and you have a great day. Nancy Alert, getting it done.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Nancy. I'll see you on the 7th.
Yes.